we can still see some fresh faces. I mean, all of those fresh faces are in the Division 4 as long as I've known, and Division 1 still will be preparing and to deliver the top matches. And Division 2, the one that is stacked, is going to give a lot of show going on because Jedi Master Yoda, or Lunar Lovegood on left hand side in blue, is still going with his pretty bizarre division choices around. With his 352nd Infantry trying to outdoing the mighty 2nd Indian Head Division. The combination is quite old, really, straight from the Steel Division 2, Steel Division Normandy 44 time, and 352nd was one of the first division that is being implemented into the game, with the Back to War DLC where you can get it for free, while having your own game of Steel Division Normandy 44, while the 2nd Indian Head, on the other hand, is the one that is being implemented into the game a year later for the Tribute to the D-Day DLC. These two infantry divisions have quite a different stats and quite a different strengths to play with. You got a lot of cheap and effective German infantry from the 352nd, while having quite some French expeditionary, French captured vehicles to use. Now we're seeing out the south, Sternpanier is actually suppressing those Rangers, and Rangers LMG do take up 1 kill by having them 3-start and being buffed by the Pioneer Fear behind. We're going to see the Rangers and Sternpanier gonna fight each other out, and Rangers were being outmatched by the Sternpanier in the end. On the northern side, Rangers and Sternpanier are being suppressed by each other, and Stormtroop taking another upper hand to the Rangers, and the M8 on the back of it. Guessing Lunar Beast, Stardekk, Gigafast, Funtix, I do have a few more trust to Lunar because I just simply like what he's trying to pick. 352nd is also one of the favorite division of mine, besides 4th Monte and 2nd Blinde. But on the other hand, yes, I think Luna does have a few advantage up in the north, but it's not quite decisive in the center and the south, because on the south, Stardekk did put a lot of infantry around, especially those Rangers are not completely out yet, with the Rangers LMG can still deliver some suppression to the Grenadiers and the soft target down in the south. We do see both picking up their own first aircraft, a fighter bomber, putting in 2 more Rangers down in the south for Stardekk, both playing Maverick income. So it's not going to be any kind of an income advantage for both sides currently. Luna is up at least 100 points now. I do believe that is probably the case because of the northern side was pretty much quiet right now. And down the south there will be another push from Stardekk, which is really going to push Luna out of the area right now. We're seeing more Stormtroop and Sternpanier coming in, with the Pioneer Fear probably going to be outdone by the Rangers, but it's not. No rifles around at the exit of the forest, not on the edge of the tree line, where Grenadier and Pioneer Fear can do their best with the support fire of Panzer 335S, the Somois French tank. We're seeing there another French tank, Panzer B2, coming in with 2 Marders 2 trying to pushing out in the middle. Northern side MA is doing its best, taking out the Marder 3 with the help of the M5 gun, with few more rifles early as the reinforcement coming in. Right now, Rangers LMG and the Grenadier Panzerfaust are doing some sort of a duel without any support fire. Rangers LMG will have another advantage of having another LMG, to be honest, there, and also in cover. While the Model 3 is trying to deal with some supporting fire with their Russian captured gun. It's going to take out 1 or 2 men from the Rangers LMG, but it rather comes out unscathed. With the M1 gun 57mm coming in, those armored vehicles of the Germans will be in huge trouble. Stardekk and MG42 brought out as a reinforcement in the northern side, but the M8 does uncover the tentative of Luna, and there comes a few more planes to try and cover that off. 109 G2R1 is trying to fire at the position where the M5 gun 76mm at, and it's going to take that out without any problem. But Gabby's coming in to deal some damage to the 109. But there comes the 109 G6R4, and another one, P38J15, is coming for the kill. Would that take the 109 off? Another 109 comes in for the air superiority task while grabbing their own bombs outside. Back to the center side, a few more reinforcements of Grenadier MG42 were brought in. As the reinforcement, you're trying to go for infantry mass assault from the 352nd. And Gabby heads on the 109, taking that down without taking too much damage of its own. G6R4 trying to come in around, doing a few more dogfight without any AA from both sides. Well, maybe for the Americans, because they still have the Cal for that advantage. B-38 do throw out their bombs, quite possibly down the south over there. And there goes another few more fights around there between the Lightning and the 109. Messerschmitt gets a critical on Gabby, and he's falling back with a flow carburetor failure. And the P38 and G6, P38 and 109 take each other out in the next battle. With the air war concluded with the Gabby the sole survivor on the field, probably another fighter bomber from the 352nd survived that. But on the center is still inconclusive with 2 more Shermans coming in. There's not much to outmatch those firepower of the Sherman. Currently, with the Model 3 trying to holding that anti-tank advantage, it's not gonna be completely enough to deal with 2 Shermans at this time. On the northern side, MA is still alive, with the rifles early were being heavily damaged. 1 were being taken out by Model 3's HE, while it's being taken out by another M5 gun that brought out as a reinforcement. Currently 13-11 with the southern flank completely taken by the Americans. Pack 36 and most of the infantry down the south were being taken out by the Rangers and the Rifles early, also with the Rangers Marauders' help. The Grenadier MG42 were being pushed out of the forest. The more things were coming in, even a AA piece of a full force 40mm. Both trying to pick up a few more AA as their last batch of reinforcement in the AA phase. And Stardekk does put out their leader into the central position, and M3 howitzer. The infantry gun is also being brought in to the center as well. Well, it's not going to end fast, with a Stardekk still holding a 13-11 advantage into the B phase. M4A1 get a gun jammed on the B2 and it does not penetrate in the second shot, with Marder 3 trying to come in to take that out, but being taken out by the Rangers Marauders, which defeated the purpose of it. Sole survivor, the sole armored survivor of the field for the 352nd, the Somoa 35, chosen to fall back, while the Sherman is coming in to lessen up the pressure that their infantry had. The southern flag being completely overtaken by Stardekk. Right now there's also the Belfast and the 50 cal trying to stop any airplane from coming in. 4 Pioneers in the Fusilier coming into the south, a Beakubel 380mm off map coming into the center, and 2 more Grenadier with Panzerfaust coming out to the north. We're saying maybe it's still not over yet. The central and the northern position were not completely developed yet, but the central was kind of an issue for Luna to push through because there's not much anti-tank capability for the Germans to take out the Shermans at this point. No Pak 40, no Stug. There comes a Stug, first of its kind, coming out to the center. Now we're seeing a duel between the MG42 and the M3 Howitzer, with few more Pioneers, one of them being taken out by the AT, either the AT gun or the M4A1. Few more things coming in. Finally, another Stug coming down to the south to try and take out the M4A1, but it's still probably under the threat of the M1 gun, while the M3 Howitzer on the high ground being taken out by the MG42. P-47 coming in, trying to bombing the MG42 out with the Pioneer. Did not get far away. This one was chosen to fall back without the support of the MG42. It will be a bit harder to push in for the Germans. Out in the open, they were caught out by the 2 rifles early. The 380mm in the center, trying to come in down and giving up the fire position. The bigger ones, the fire for effect, coming down to the south. 2 Pioneers chosen to fall back with the Fusilier holding on. On the central side, with the help of the M3A1 HT, the subgroups, 2 of them, were being able to take out the Stern Pioneer and the Stoss troop in the area, taking 1 more flag from Luna at this point. Another rifle late and a couple of Pioneers trying to come in as a reinforcement into the center. On much more northern side, B2 and the Marder 2 is coming to the high ground, trying to take down the position, which is held by the M1919 MMG and the M8. G6R4 tried to strafe the M5 gun. Not much damage has been dealt, a lot of suppression of course. And we didn't see any airplane coming for the kill of a 109 from Stardekk. Down the south, the 380 has done its own damage, but it's just simply suppressed the infantry, but not the M4A1. Down the south, it's gonna be a duel between the 2 armored vehicles. M4A1 do choose to fall back because it's being outmatched by the Stug, while itself is also doing some suppression to the Pioneer. It's going to cycle between AP and HE shell to the Stug and the Pioneer. Back to the north, the 1919 MMG was being taken out, leaving a few gap around at this area, with only the M8 holding the position, with the M5 gun being taken out by B2 and Marder in the end. Stardekk choose to bring 2 Hellcats and an M3 Howitzer as the reinforcement, with the Pioneer coming in. The assault group might not be expected to live for quite a long time because of the simply the numbers, but there's also some kind of a option for the half-track to be put in use with their 50 cal still intact and be used, able to use. But the Panzerschreck, on the other hand, is countering that to complete the chain of counter around this area. We're seeing Gabby put into use to strafe down the Stardekk again, but it's not going to be very effective. The G6R4 trying to chase that down, but to no avail. And May being taken out by Panzerschreck, while the two half-tracks were being taken out by the other armored vehicles coming out, the B2 and Marder. G6R4 tried to strafe out the howitzer and succeeded on doing so, without any AA on the northern and the central area. Back to the south, the M5 gun is putting into the range and taking out the Stardekk, the only armored vehicle currently Luna had in the area. Lots of grenadiers and pioneers were being bunched out on around this area and trying to be, well, surviving under the firepower of M5 gun and potentially the M3 howitzer. So quite a few things happening. Stardekk trying to 1v1 a flamethrower but failed to do so. And the Grenadier MG42 again is, well, having a one-on-one fight against the Ranger LMG. On the range, it's not going to be beaten. M18 Hellcat did their best, trying to deliver a few HE shell they had. Gabby strafes again. This time fire at position did not bring out the result he wanted, but that does leave a gap for the assault group to push in with its M3A1 half-track. More reinforcement coming in. We're pushing into 17 minutes out of this game. Still quite a bit of a disadvantage for Luna down the south, but for the north and the central position is still inconclusive. As we're speaking, the central Sherman were being taken out by Stardekk or the Flak 41. Quite some off-map were being dropped maybe around this area, but not really being effective as it needs to be. Both us coming in for the central area as the AA cover, and that did quite a few damage to the 109. But on the other hand, Gabby is also taking a lot of damage from the 88mm. Now comes more reinforcement coming into the area. The R35 Panzerjäger is coming in with their 47mm shell that is actually capable on taking down the Shermans in close range. And that's going to be a really huge trade if one of them did succeed. More of the reinforcement coming in, Stardekk being taken out by the M18 Hellcat. And we're seeing Grenadier Panzerfaust out in their truck, not being threatened anyway. But we're seeing something special coming into the area, the MG08 with the Kubo transport. MG08 was quite of a niche choice because you normally wouldn't wanted those in the German division. Especially because it's probably a rebadged Maxim machine gun. Instead, you would really like to use an NG34, NG42 because that's just simply superior. But for the price, they still do their job as a HMG. And it's not a bad idea to have more HMG in the area to control the open from pushing by the infantry. We do see a head-on fight between the 109 and the P47, but it's not going to be really good for both sides. As we're seeing, the northern side was quite being breached by the infantry that American had, with the support of the M4A1 Rhino and more Hellcat coming in. 14-10 to Luna. It's not going to be good. if Luna wants to win this game, because with a time limit of 15 minutes, and also into the C phase, Luna didn't get the trade that he wanted in the B phase. But the amount of humans on the field is still quite promising for the Germans to push through, but it just doesn't have the power, it doesn't have the attack power to do so. Not a bad reference to a content creator, as Luna did try to stream his game. Actually, he did try to stream this game on the Chinese owned platform, but his stream room was a bit of, well, how do I say about this? His stream was being cut off by the Great Wall or something else. It was quite a tragic time, of course, and he really had to rely on other people like me, like Li Jing, trying to cover up his games. And maybe he's gonna cover up his own game later by himself, but that will be a story for the later ones. Pack 40 being pushed out by the Rhino and Hellcat at this point with the 107mm do try to bomb out the position that Luna had. But Luna did try to push into the area where he do have some of the numerical advantage in the central one, especially on the amount of infantry, but that was being stopped by the 203mm off map and the rifle slate delivering out the sweet 2 BARs. Still a 14-10 for Stardekk, not a 15-9 yet, but I guess we will be expecting to see that very soon. Still coming in, trying to take out the Hellcat or the Rhino. The Rhino and Hellcat do backing off and trying to deliver more damage to the soft target down below. On a 5mm, trying to fire at the Grenadier Panzerfaust. That does deliver a lot of damage. With the 109 G6R4 trying to suppress the rifle slate. Back to the center, 203mm did an enormous job on pushing back all of the German infantry. But the flags were not taken yet, so it's not completely over for Luna in this position. The reinforcement, a few more Panzerjäger 35 are coming down the south and the northern side instead of coming to the north, coming to the center. Probably all the center 35Rs are being taken out one by one on this road. But the Grenadier and the Pioneer are still pushing in quite hard and pinned down the rifle slate, but not really actually killing that out. Another 380mm off map coming into the northern side of the map. They're coming out unscathed. And there's a lot more to going on. Rifle slate and Ranger Marauders are trying to come in and seize that high ground. The Stoke 3G was already being taken out by the M3 Howitzer. And a 107mm is still really doing the job on bombarding the position. So, for the current stage, C phase, Stardekk has an enormous amount of infantry up in the northern side, which makes Luna's position a lot more dangerous. Another head-on fight between the lightning bolt and the Messerschmitt comes out again, death for both sides. And, well, just checking out a few messages around there. Well, I could be using another new league icon if I do have the time to switching that out. And thanks for the organizing of the SDL organizer, String and Protosaka, for delivering such an amazing league for the past few years. We're seeing Luna trying to coming back with its own OP over the area, also with the help of the Nebel Warfare trying to bomb out the 107mm mortar. It's not really going to be as effective as it should be, but that does forcing the rifles late coming out of their truck. Quite an unexpected success at the end. 380mm comes in, bombarding out. Artillery commander were being pinned down. M18 Hellcat takes some damage, but not enough to take that out. Quite a failure for the OP, to be honest, over there. In the center and the south, Luna is still trying to push, but is to no avail, really. There's not enough infantry for Luna to do so. And the supporting fire is really limited at this position. On the center side, Stardekk did push another 203mm off map, probably the last of its own, into the position where Luna had his own Stardekk 3G and a few more Fusilier and Grenadier inside. It does seems to be like Luna is pushing Stardekk out in the center side of the area, while Luna is still probably losing the northern fight in the end and losing north and the south. And holding up the center won't be enough in an Orsha East match. We're seeing more Panzerjäger 35 are being pushed in, a few more Grenadier NG42 were there too. Back into the game, a few more infantry trying to push out. It already hold a flag. It probably doesn't look to be making a lot of sense to push things out. Maybe you would try to sneak an AT gun around this area to try and go for some transport and armored kills around this area from this forest, or even this forest, because he totally hold the forest around there, so it's totally capable of bringing an AT up into this route to this route and then the forest, and coming out outside and picking off a lot of kills, especially vehicle kills to the enemy. And it's going to be a really harsh position for Luna to fight back because he's being pushed out of the forest already. And being an infantry division, and that means that you only had pretty limited option to control the open area without having to take a lot of casualties. In the central side, the off-map does a lot of damage, but did not kill out the Stug. On the other hand, it's just running out of infantry for the Americans, because the 3 squads of Germans are being capable, more than capable, to holding out so far. The lack of AT will be a huge problem, because the half-track and the Rhino are going to be a good suppression for the infantry. 14-10 with 28 minutes already passed. It's not going to be easy for Luna to come back with this state, because both sides are in Maverick income and they have pretty limited resource to do so. All Luna can do is try to even out the trade in the north and trying to keep pushing the Americans completely out of their position at the center side. And maybe, just maybe, with more off-maps being poured into the south, there could be a small chance for the Germans to overtake the southern forest and gaining maybe 1 or 2 flags. And it's doing so by pushing a few more grenadiers into the area with rifles early. The squad probably can do the first responding. Marder 2 1v1 against the M4A1 Rhino, with the Rhino already having the first shot and the Rhino taking an APCR shell, which is not really easy for the Marder to win this match. But the Pack 36 did come in out, do gain a kill on the half-track, but being killed off by the rifles early. Fusilier had to back off a bit. And it's the northern side probably completely fallen into Stardekk hands. And on the central, the Grenadiers are being pushed out, and the Pioneers taken out by the M4A1 Rhino. even though there are a few the MGOA trying to hold up the position, it's not really going to be enough to control the area with only the 88mm controlling that route. Pushing a few more Grenadier MG42 into the areas, Luna do try to hold up the central position, especially the extra flag around there that could avoid Luna from having a 15-9 disadvantage. A few more things were being taken out by the M4A1 Rhino, especially those the 35Rs are facing the wrong match. It should be facing up the normal M4A1s, not the M4A1 Rhinos. And the reinforcement of the Grenadier MG42 were being pushed out by the rifles late. And then there comes the Hellcat trying to taking that advantage, but being spotted and taken out by the flak vehicle. A few Grenadiers were being taken out by rifles late eventually, but the rifles early were completely being pinned down at this moment, but it does look like it's pretty much a successful operation for the 2nd Indian Head Division. And it's going to be a pretty huge victory for Stardekk in his first battle of the season. 31 minutes 36 second have passed. Still a 14-10 for the 2nd Division, 2nd Infantry Division. Having controlled mostly of the northern side, it's still pretty looking like a decisive matchup over there. Stardekk coming in to stabilize the southern front, while in the central side of the map, Luna pushed another Panzerschreck in, while the ADA keep up being behind the position. Rhino and Hellcat were being bombarded by the Nebelwerfer. Only the rifle slate were being taken out at this position. Who's smoking out the 88mm for future push in. Turret stuck for the Hellcat too. We're being repositioned from the center to the north, probably trying to exploit the advantage that he had around the area. 14-10 and start a Mike 1 of 15-9 to assert his dominance over Luna, who's having quite of a woeful performance with his 52nd Infantry Division. Another 107mm mortar were coming in. Oh, the Hellcat is actually going for the GMC supply to repair the stock turret, and also refilling some of these ammos. Rhino being taken out by the Pak 40 from far behind. The Stock 3G is more than capable of dealing out damage to the Rhino, while the Fusilier probably had to be really careful about its positioning. You really want to see where the Rhino is without being spotted. And 3 more minutes. 3 more minutes for Luna to push back the Americans. But he still didn't get the advantage that he wanted, especially while the SIG-33 are being taken out. And a lot of rifle slades still being reinforced into the south, comparing to what Luna can bring down to the south. More Grenadiers are pushing into the center and the northern area, but it's not quite effective as it seems. M3 Howitzer and Rangers LNG down in 1 shot, but that Howitzer did take out the Stardekk in the end. It does forces a few things off, while on the air another P-47 were being taken out by the Messerschmitts. But for the current stance, the few infantry squad around the area was not being totally supported by their own armor, and it had to face the M4A1 Rhino and the M18 Hellcat. That does mean Luna only had 2 minutes or maybe 1 minute of time to push back. But it also means Stardekk is going to grab the victory before the time limit comes, or maybe most likely before the 40-minute mark, marking off the swing for Stardekk. Not going to be easy for the later stages of this game, and doesn't look like Luna is trying to give up yet, or at least he's not hitting the surrender button. The Stardekk does gain an upper hand with the second Indian head, and trying to pushing a few more infantry back with the M1919 and rifles laid solely. And in the center, Stardekk finally pushing that infantry in, while sacrificing his Rhino to the 88mm for the sake of scouting. No armor. Yeah, no armor for Stardekk at the position, but it's already over. The game's over with a 36-minute, 47-second fighting, with the Stardekk taking minor victory with more losses. 185 points to be exact. The kills for Stardekk isn't looking pretty, but the P-38J gaining up 3 kills with their bombs, that's quite huge, with the rifles early down the south did a lot of work, and ranged marauders taking out 3 vehicles. That was quite a good kill, and don't forget the M4A1 Rhino that tanked most of the shot. And most of the shot from the Panzerjägers and the Stork, and quite probably Pak-40 shot. Maybe not. And that does gain itself 6 units of infantry killed and 2 more Panzerjäger 35R that were hopelessly trying to phase out the frontal armor of the Rhino. Other than that, the kills of Luna is going to be the 109 G2R1, grabbing out a lot of kills around there. 4 guns were being taken out by the bombs, and also a squad of Rangers LMG, also with a Thunderbolt of Navarro. SIG-33 do take out a few more targets down in the south, but in the end was being taken out by the infantry and a few more guns by Stardekk. Other than that, 1 kills and 2 kills out there, nothing special to be talked about. The railroad battery, the 380mm off-map, did not do the work that Luna needs to be, missing a lot of shots with their 4 charges. Quite unfortunate for Luna, and congratulations to Stardekk for his first win of the season.